Today on the show, we break down the firing of James Gunn from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We talk drones, and if they are coming to an iconic nighttime show at Disney World. We honor our first Disney Legend of the Month, and in our main segment, we ponder what the 6 Infinity Stones of the Disney parks might be. All that coming up on this episode of WDW Opinion. Hit the music.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
This is the podcast where two friends, Connor
You are a child's plaything!
and Hank,
You are a sad, strange little man. Can you have my pity?
share their opinions, tips, and stories about anything and everything at Walt Disney World.
Trust me, what could go wrong?
Get ready, because this is WDW Opinion.
We're in the tower. We are ready for takeoff.
Hello and welcome to episode number 4 of the WDW Opinion Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Connor Brown, and I'm joined, as always, by my Disney partner in crime, the one and only Mr. Hank Molsky. Hank, I know you've been busy organizing your Taika Waititi for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 campaign, but I'm glad you're able to take some time off and join us today.
Well, yeah, I had to put aside the 3 or 4 petitions that have been shoved in my face because I was signing all these other things to bring James Gunn back. Apparently, if you sign an online petition, he just magically shows back up, and Bob Iger reads every one of those.
Yes, he does. He reads all of them, and he completely forgets about the atrocities that have been done before that. And if you sign your name to
Online petitions.
an anonymous online petition, a person is bound to come
Because
back.
you actually can't create more than one email address. So it's
That's
ironclad.
That's true. I myself don't have 3 email addresses I have access to at any time at all, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, I don't know who's going to be directing that movie, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
We will get. You know what? Why don't we just get into it right now?
Okay, why not?
It's time for news to opinion. This is our weekly segment where we share our favorite Disney news stories for the past week and then share our thoughts and opinions on what this news means for the parks or the company as a whole. All right, Hank, why don't you kick things off this week since we were just talking about it?
Hey, surprise, surprise. Well, actually, it was a surprise and not a welcome one at the Walt Disney Company. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 director James Gunn has been terminated by the Walt Disney Company. After old tweets resurfaced. Gunn joked about the controversial topics such as pedophilia and rape and has since deleted his Twitter account. Walt Disney Studios chairman Alan Horn said in the following statement, "The offensive attitudes and statements discovered on James' Twitter feed are indefensible and inconsistent with our studio's values, and we have severed our business relationship with him." So there's plenty of follow back and forth from all this, but from a pure, without getting involved in, what Disney should or should not do in a very difficult, obviously bad situation for all parties involved, and you really hope that nothing as violently offensive that he did say in the past was ever coming true. We haven't seen any reports of stuff like that. Obviously something Disney can't take lightly, but as I was saying, end of the day, not good for Marvel Studios and for Disney. And Connor, you and I talked about this last week when the news first came out, and you immediately can follow the thread and watch all the different places that this stick of dynamite blows up after you light it, because he touches a lot of stuff through Marvel. I mean, it's scary the amount of power that James Gunn had accumulated in a good way before this.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll talk about this actually a little bit more in our main segment, but if you think about what Guardians of the Galaxy did, the first volume, it was a relatively unknown comic, and it just blew up the box office. It blew up the box office because it gave a great story, and a large part of that James Gunn deserves credit for coming up with that story, for directing that story, etc. Sure. He did things like he was the first one to introduce an Infinity Stone, which launched this whole, movies upon movies
yeah.
upon movies. That was in the first Guardians.
Yeah, that was Benicio del Toro's character did the whole explanation. That was like kind of get Disney casting out the roadmap of like, the next 5-6 years to come. And you can't discredit how important James Gunn was in all of these decisions at Marvel Studios, because if you read closely enough or you listen to Kevin Feige talk about the role the different directors play.
Kevin Feige, who is the president of Marvel Studios and has been there basically since the start and has launched it, just gone from nothing to the gigantic studio that it is.
Right, and now he, as you said, president of Marvel Studios. His number 2 guy was James Gunn, in a way, for the movie creation. You look at the power that he had in not only just one of the top grossing franchises inside of the thing, he was about to become the first Marvel director to direct 3 movies in a trilogy. It's never been done. Yeah, because the Russo brothers only did 2 and 3 for Captain America, and they're going to end up doing 2 for the Avengers now as well. So he would have been the first to hit 3. James Gunn would have been the first to hit 3 in one series. But then you read other stuff, like he wrote all the dialogue for the Guardians in Infinity War. He helped do the storyboards for the Guardians character in Infinity War. He had a big part in even storyboarding the next Infinity War movie that comes out next year. And Kevin Feige, I think he has to. You can't sort of like think too hard about it or wonder what's going on behind the curtains. I think Disney's kind of just as lost as a lot of other people are at the moment. But Kevin Feige hasn't said anything publicly yet, as of the recording of this podcast, around James Gunn.
Yeah, I mean, I find that interesting. I mean, what is there to say? I don't think you can basically come out and say, yeah, we canned him, but don't worry, we have a replacement. That kind of doesn't hit on why the guy was fired. It's like, oh, don't worry, we made sure we found a replacement before we fired him because of his awful remarks from years ago.
Yeah. Let's not take this too lightly, too. I mean, it is kind of indefensible. Nothing that Connor and I are doing on the show are trying to defend James Gunn, but
we're not. It's not. Yeah. What we're trying to do is think of this guy did bad things. He was fired for it. It was probably made sense. Regardless of why he did it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He made crazy jokes, which came back to bite him in the ass, 6 years later or however many years later. And what we're just trying to focus on is the fact that he's gone now, right? Yeah. So what is this? From a purely creative perspective, he brought a lot to Marvel, right?
Yeah.
From a directorial movie standpoint, he brought a lot to Marvel. He's gone now. What is Marvel going to do?
Yeah, and I'd like to let's follow that thread to one more end of the dynamite stick that it's going to blow up. And Connor, you and I talked about this. It's the parks are going to feel it a little bit too. You read and listen to enough stuff about how passionate James Gunn was when they were filming Guardians of the Galaxy Breakout. Took a whole day on the set of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 to film this. Brought in old cast members. Brought the whole thing together.
He said it was his favorite day on set, filming the film for Mission Breakout, which is the attraction that took over Tower of Terror in California Adventure. He took a whole day out of filming to do that during Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and he was anticipating taking 2 to 3 days out of filming for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 so that he could film scenes for the new roller coaster coming to the Universe of Energy in Epcot.
And that's kind of where we are. There's not too much more to do except kind of wait to see how Disney plays this thing out. We don't know what's going to happen to the ride in Disney World. We don't know what's going to happen to Volume 3. They were set to start shooting very soon, but now we're kind of left in limbo and seeing what kind of impact his departure will have. So we'll keep an eye on that.
I'll tell you what the saving grace for the Guardians in the parks is Joe Rohde. Yeah. So a couple years ago, Joe Rohde was kind of sort of promoted in a way to, yeah, he's like a senior creative director at Imagineering or whatever. But in his wheelhouse is everything Marvel in the parks. He owns that. So if a Marvel idea comes up, it's going under him, and he's going to be the creative lead on it.
I don't want to get into it, but as beautiful as Pandora was,
Oh boy.
love Connor. It could be my favorite area of any park, maybe.
Yeah.
How good are the stories on those rides, though? The two rides.
Yeah.
There's
that's what makes them, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think
I'm just saying, so think of the storytelling ability of James Gunn, and then think of the lack of actual true story in Pandora behind those rides. They're beautiful, they're exceptional, and they're immersive, but they don't quite have I don't know. They don't quite have the storytelling ability that Breakout seems to have.
but I don't know, who do you put the blame on for that? We'll never know.
Yeah.
Because
there's a lot of fingers you can point when you go into the parks like that. So many different cooks in the kitchen.
because Joe Rohde he's the principal creative director for all of Animal Kingdom. The Expedition Everest, that was his. That's an incredible story. All that stuff is incredible. I think that theme park in itself tells incredible stories. So,
God, yeah. Well, glass half full.
Glass half full.
They'll find someone, and like you said at the beginning of the show, Taika Waititi definitely could fit in nicely.
And he was the director of Thor Ragnarok, which was the latest Thor, which Hank and I both absolutely love.
That's one of my favorite Marvel movies. It's almost like a guilty pleasure how high on my list it is.
Yeah. I watched it again this weekend. It's great, man.
Yeah.
It's absolutely awesome.
It's on Netflix. Check it out.
Check it out. All right. Well, thanks, Hank, for your news to opinion. My news to opinion might not seem like a Disney story at first, but I will get there. So my story is that Intel sets a world record for flying over 2,000 drones at once. On Sunday, July 15th, Intel broke the Guinness World Record for simultaneously flying the most unmanned aerial vehicles. The company flew 2018. Oh, that's funny, because that's the year we're in, 2018.
Those clever guys.
They flew 2018 drones in Folsom, California for a show that lasted about 5 minutes, and it celebrated the Intel's 50th anniversary. The previous record was 1,300 drones by some company in China. Since the drone program launched for Intel in 2015, Intel's Shooting Star drones have performed more than 300 shows in 16 countries, including the 2017 Super Bowl and the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics opening ceremony. If you haven't seen the video of this, it's pretty awesome. I'll link it in the show notes page, but this is how I am bringing it back to Disney. In 2016, I believe, a new show came to Disney Springs during the holidays. That show featured exclusively drones created and manned by Intel. So we've been hearing a lot of rumors lately that Epcot is going to be getting a new nighttime show replacing the 25-year-old Illuminations. There have been a couple other reports saying that they're building new things, new areas maybe to house certain things in Epcot, and a article published actually today by the Orlando Sentinel said the lagoon at Epcot, where Disney World shoots off fireworks for its nightly Illuminations Reflections of Earth show, is getting electrical work done worth more than $2 million.
Whew.
That's a lot of money for electrical work
Yeah.
in one specific place.
Yeah, it's like one tiny part of ride infrastructure or show infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly. It's an island that no guest can actually go to. The other permits for things going on behind backstage might be a drone charging facility.
Backstage behind the Japan pavilion, there's been some land clearing back there in Epcot, correct?
Japan Yes, because I think it's where the drawbridge is. There's a drawbridge in World Showcase. They think it'll be a good place for charging. Now, these are all rumors, first off.
Yeah.
But these are rumors that I've heard from multiple places who get these rumors right all the time.
Yeah.
So, while Intel is setting these world records with these drones, they have the experience with Disney creating these shows. We've been hearing rumors about Illuminations getting replaced. My opinion on this story is I'm intrigued.
Pull the trigger.
Pull the trigger. Exactly. Get it done. Come on. I mean, I think, these are the things people often talk about when it comes to, what's the next thing they could do? You never know. Well, this is the next thing that they could do. This is the technology that's here today that they can start utilizing.
Yep.
I mean, as soon as they can.
I'm excited. I saw that video. What'd you say it was, Sunday night? I think it was my father-in-law showed the video to me. The first words out of my mouth, Disney's doing that.
Did you know Disney's doing that?
Well, maybe. Rumor. It is all speculation. But it is fascinating to think about, like how you can the land clearing behind Japan that people are already ready, like, oh, that's going to be the charging station. Like, because you need so much room for all these drones to just go land somewhere. Like, it's not something you think of. You think of your drone as like something you just carry out of there. But there's not like 2,000 people standing around to, pocket a drone and walk away with it. You need the port. Imagine
your job is lining up 2,000 iPhones and plugging them in every single night so that they can charge.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is basically what that's going to be. I don't know. It probably won't be 2,000 drones. I mean, that's incredible. That's a lot of drones.
Yeah, what are we saying? Yeah, it's not going to be 2,000. That video is incredible, though. And I'm glad you're linking that in the notes because it's pretty... It seems a lot more complex. Did it seem more complex to you than the stuff that we saw at the Super Bowl? Over a year ago? Yeah, it's pretty complex.
I feel like complex is a relative term because there's 2,000 drones here. Anything...
The 3D spinning globe. That was incredible. That was the thing to me that I was like, that is Illuminations right there. They don't have to do anything.
So this thing with the drones is they all move in perfect harmony for the most part. You can look at them and not one single drone looks like it's out of place, which is incredible. And, that's just the computers or whatever behind it, but
yeah. Does Florida have any bad weather, Connor?
No, never. It's never had any bad weather ever.
So they could they could run that show every night without issue.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great.
And there's no problem. There's no problem. I guarantee it. There's no problem of a 50-pound drone accidentally going rogue and falling from the sky. And
so, Connor, you may have heard this too, is that they plan on potentially closing part of the pathway at World Showcase, or they're looking into, like, all right, everyone, we're going to rope it off as all the drones fly over us.
Yeah,
it sounds cool. It's just an event, It's no different than like a parade passing by. No one's going to complain about that.
Every day at I want to say it's like right when park opens, and then at like 3 or something, I don't know, the macaws fly over you.
Oh, right. Yeah.
At Animal Kingdom. That's what it's going to be like.
Yes. Exactly.
Robot macaws. Oh, there they go. Oh, look at the drones.
Except if you get dropped on by a drone, it's not something you can just take out in the wash. It's probably going to be a little bit more painful.
Yeah. Poor guest relations, There
go the drones.
A drone crapped on me? Okay. No.
That's actually a spinning metal blade.
You're dead. You are dead. All right, some good news to opinions. We will see how those play out in the future. Now it's time for our news segment, one we're calling Disney Legend of the Month. This segment is where we honor a Disney legend, whether it be an Imagineer, an animator, director, actor, or executive. These legends exemplify the Walt Disney Company. With each segment, we'll honor a new legend and discuss their contributions and legacies and the impact that has made on us, the Disney fans. Our goal here is to shed light on the incredible men and women who have helped build the Disney company who aren't named Walt Disney. So, our first Disney legend is Marty Sklar. Hank, have you heard of Marty Sklar before?
Who?
Oh, God.
No. I'm laughing, though, because Marty Sklar, you'll get into it, but he would say, well, no one important at Disney wasn't named Walt Disney himself.
He's a funny guy.
He's very humble.
He is the former vice chairman and principal creative executive of Walt Disney Imagineering, and he had a Disney career that lasted 53 years, which began a month before Disneyland opened in 1955. I can't comprehend 53 years of anything, let alone working for one company.
One job.
One
A lot of different, very important, powerful bosses, which is something we'll get into, but he's seen a lot.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And a lot of awesome projects too.
Yeah.
But how did he start? At the time, a month before Disneyland opened, he was still a senior in college at UCLA, and he was the editor of the student newspaper, the Daily Bruin. He was recruited to create an 1890 themed tabloid newspaper called the Disneyland News, which sold on Main Street during the park's debut year. An interesting backstory behind this was like a Walt Disney idea. He said, I want to have a tabloid newspaper. And they're like, well, how are we going to do this? And he said, why don't you just go down to one of the colleges and get a journalism student? They found Marty Sklar running the Daily Bruin. He said, yeah, I'll take the summer job, whatever. And then back then, Disneyland was only opened, it was like kind of seasonal. So it was open for a month the first year, then only on the weekends. And then it like really vamped up back in October. Yep. But anyways, he worked there, and then after completing his education, he went back and he got a job in publicity and marketing, where he established the Vacation Land magazine, which is kind of a magazine you could take from the park, buy it. It became a huge, huge marketing piece where almost everyone who went would buy this and then put it on their coffee table, and people would say, oh, what is that? Oh, it's from Disneyland. You got to go.
Yep.
So in the years following that, he would occasionally write scripts for Walt Disney. A lot of people during this time actually called him Walt's right-hand man when it came to this. Eventually, he would also write the full script for the Florida Project video, where Walt was explaining on television what he wanted to do in Florida with Epcot, that sort of thing. So Walt really liked what Sklar was creating and decided to take him from marketing and put him in Imagineering. And in 1961, he was put to work on helping create the 4 pavilions Disney was responsible for at the 1964 World's Fair. And among them, classics like Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, The Carousel of Progress, and It's a Small World were developed.
You think about Lincoln there, that's like the birth of all animatronics in the park that he can, not take credit for, but certainly instrumental in that.
So each of these, we should do an episode on the 64 World's Fair. That'd be awesome. There's
Stay tuned.
So much stuff to it. A funny story about Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln was it was in the state of Illinois pavilion at the World's Fair. And I can't remember if this episode, or not at this episode, if this story happened at the World's Fair or at Disneyland. I think I know where you're going with
this, yeah.
Where the animatronic and show were moved to after the fair was over. Audio animatronics are run with hydraulic fluids inside.
What color are those fluids?
Back in the day, they used to be red. The reason it was red is because it was an easy color to make, and so that the Imagineers could see that the fluid was working properly.
Oh,
well,
God.
One day, a valve burst in Mr. Lincoln while he was giving his speech as he stood up. Not blood, but a red substance started to appear on his shirt because the hydraulic fluid valve broke and burst everywhere, and then he just kind of collapsed into his chair. And a guest came out and said, "My God, that was incredible. They even got the assassination temp so lifelike on him." Well, after that day, and I think that was a story that Marty Sklar would always tell, too.
Yeah.
Because I totally remember his punchline being, and after that, we decided maybe we should use green fluid going on going forward.
Yep.
Well, after the World's Fair, Sklar would be instrumental in the creation of Disney World and Epcot. Sklar would pitch the Epcot project to hundreds of corporations in an effort to gain the sponsorship money needed to get the theme park going. He would also go to foreign countries like Israel and other places to pitch the ideas to them for the World Showcase aspect if they wanted to sponsor a pavilion. Over the decades, he would become the face of Imagineering in many ways, and in the years after Walt's passing, he would make sure the division had a clear set of guiding principles so that they would continue to build and innovate like Walt did. While he may not have been the creative lead or had the original ideas of a lot of the attractions, he clearly had a hand in the development and construction of the biggest and most important projects in Disney theme park history. And he was the only person to have attended every single opening ceremony of every Disney park around the world, from Disneyland in 1955 to Shanghai in 2016, and the 10 theme park openings in between. So Marty Sklar is kind of like the guy who, while he doesn't build all this stuff or create all this stuff, he's the guy that's like, oh, let me tell you the story about how we did this. Let me tell you the story about how we did this.
You got to have one of those guys.
And he knows every single person. And I think that's why he was such a treasure trove to so many Disney fans. Because he would tell all these remarkable stories because he was in those conversations and things like that. He really took a step up in that leadership position when Walt passed, which
you really can't discredit like the in-house historian type of role, especially for a company with rich history like Disney World. How critical that lifeblood is to have that pumping through there.
When they're always thinking, what would Walt do? What would Walt have done? I mean, that's what it comes down to, and I think he really was able to capture that so much. And because of that, in 2001, he became a Disney legend. In 2005, he transitioned into a role as the ambassador of Imagineering. This role basically had him going to events, going to art colleges, and talking to students, telling the stories, and that's really when he started, letting these stories fly, which was awesome. On his official retirement in 2009, Sklar received a window on Main Street in Disneyland, which is the highest honor a Disney employee can earn. Sadly, Sklar passed away on July 27th, 2017, pretty much exactly a year ago. But his legacy lives on in the Disney theme parks he helped create and in the talent he developed as the fearless leader of Walt Disney Imagineering.
I think it's pretty incredible if you look at up and down his bio or anything, just the fingerprints that he has on significantly influential projects in Disney history. I'm going to sound like I'm overstating it, but it is truly that way, that it's like he is an American history icon for some of the stuff that he helped do. I mean, he was instrumental in the creation of It's a Small World. Who in the world doesn't know what It's a Small World is? I mean, it's a significant part of American history that, it's that guy, the humble guy behind the scenes, was right, there for all of it.
So I'm reading his book right now, actually, Dream It, Do It, which is an awesome book because he basically tells his entire career at Walt Disney, at the Walt Disney Company, and tells all the insider secrets and stuff like that. He talked about how one day one of his lead engineers came to him and said, I can't do the Universe of Energy ride vehicles. That ride is now defunct, but they had a very interesting ride layout. He's like, I can't do it. It's impossible. And Marty Sklar said, you have to do it. If you don't do it, Exxon will pull out of the sponsorship of the Universe of Energy. If they pull out, then this company will pull out. And then they'll pull it out. And then we won't have any money. And then we won't have Epcot. And we have to have Epcot. So you have to get it done. The next time you call me, you better figure out how you made it work. Yeah. And he was that guy. He was facilitating the deals. He was making sure everything got done so that the Imagineers could imagine, could create, and actually get the work done, which...
Wow.
Really speaks volumes, and I think that's why he was a good person to pick for our first Disney Legend of the Month.
Thanks, Marty.
Thanks, Marty. Just a note on this middle segment as well. I think what Hank and I have come to like is we'll have a rotation about like maybe 4 or 5 rotating segments, and then we'll just basically cycle through them and then go on from there. So the middle segment will always change, but it'll always be familiar.
And we'll always do the one you want to hear the most. Now we'll switch it up.
No, we won't. Don't write to us. We won't listen to about that. This is how we like doing it. Now it's time for our main segment. In 2009, Disney shocked everyone with their acquisition of Marvel Entertainment for $4 billion. The comic company had been around since 1939 and had produced some of the most iconic characters ever. But in 2008, the company began its unprecedented journey into cinema with the launch of Iron Man and the beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A journey that has lasted 10 years, introduced dozens of incredible characters to the screen over the course of some 20 films connected to each other and the overall story arc in some form or another. This summer we got the Avengers Infinity War, which was the beginning of the end, maybe, for the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it. Over the course of the last 20 years, we've learned of the 20 films, we've learned of the Infinity Stones. These 6 immensely powerful stones live in the Marvel Universe, and each represent a different kind of element. They're named mind, soul, space, power, time, and reality. And if anyone is to have these stones all at once, they could essentially hold limitless powers. Now, these play a big role in the latest Avengers film, Infinity Wars, but we won't get into the specifics of that here. Hank, however, had an awesome idea. What would the 6 Infinity Stones of the Disney parks be? He put his original thoughts into a blog post that you can now read on WDW Opinion, but we thought that it'd be a good idea for a podcast segment this week as well. Hank will explain his picks, and I'll share mine. This is a go with us kind of segment, but I think we're going to have a lot of fun along the way. And Hank, I think I'm going to turn it over to you to lead us.
All right.
What was your idea when you first had this, by the way?
Oh, I think I saw that juice cup out at Disney's California Adventure with the Infinity Gauntlet. Did you see that thing?
Yeah, they sold out like hotcakes.
Instantly. Yeah, so out in Disney's California Adventure, which is where the eventual or rumored it's official, Marvel Land is going to be Marvel themed land. They were selling the Infinity Gauntlet, but it was a juice cup, and it's just the most ridiculous, obnoxious. So it's a metal glove, for those of you that have or haven't seen the movie, where all 6 of the Infinity Stones rest. And they were giving it out in the parks, which is still, a little bit in a way, as Marvel stuff starts to move into the parks, Connor, it still is surreal, especially juxtaposed to, like Disney World, which can't have Marvel stuff. But when you see Marvel stuff start to pop up in Disney parks, you're like, wow, it finally happened. Because, it was such a forbidden fruit for so long because of the deal that ironclad Marvel into the Universal parks.
It is interesting. I mean, in Walt Disney World, it's still such a weird contract because they can sell all the merchandise they want.
Yeah.
They have a Marvel dedicated store in Disney Springs, but it's just
no rides.
No rides, no character meet and
right,
greets,
yeah.
No shows, stuff like that. So.
But then there's weird stuff because Guardians of the Galaxy characters can show up.
Yeah, because it didn't.
I don't know
what the original. I don't know.
Yeah,
what the
Universal
original
doesn't
thing
properly utilize the IP or something like that. Well, we could get into the weeds with that contract. We could do a whole show on that contract, which we won't bore you with.
We won't. We don't want to bore you more than what we typically bore you with in a weekly episode.
Good point. So anyway, yeah, I thought I keep on seeing these memes online or these posts. Specifically, I feel like I see a lot around the joke is that Disney is acquiring all 6 of the Infinity Stones. And, one of the final ones is Fox. They're putting that 5th or 6th stone on their gauntlet, and they're going to control space-time with all the assets that they own in Lucasfilm and Pixar and Disney Animation Studios. I'm missing something. Marvel, duh. But, and it got me thinking, so people like to represent the stones in that way. What would it take to control the universe parks of Disney in an Infinity Gauntlet setup with Infinity Stones represented by rides? So, if you bear with me, these are only going to be, Connor and I are only going to talk about rides that either exist or are definitely going to exist announced by Disney. We're not going to just make up rides that don't exist in the future. The idea behind this is these are extraordinarily rare rides or concepts that Disney has hit the mark unlike any other in their class. It's not just something like, oh, I love Space Mountain. Why wouldn't you guys pick Space Mountain? Well, it's not, it's very common that several iterations, it's not one of the rarest metals or gems in the universe. So that's where we're going with this. Connor, do you have any questions?
I don't. I think it's going to be cool to see Hank's picks for this, and then I think that I've taken a more literal sense, and as I'm reviewing mine now, I think I've also taken like a super Homer Walt Disney World sense.
That's fine.
You
think that Disney World is Thanos then, because they're going to control all.
Oh, absolutely. They are.
But see, and that's the interesting thing. We'll get into this a little bit. I thought for sure, so, if you collect all 6 Infinity Stones, you could, per se, in theory, a lot of people, you could snap your fingers and destroy half the universe because you control all. So I thought for sure Disney World, 4 parks, all these resorts, it's got to be the one that's getting close. However, taking through this, maybe they're just a few years away as those early stages that we saw in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we're not quite in the end game just yet. So, without further ado, let's dive in and crack open the first stone.
Let's talk stones. Let's talk some stones, man.
Let's talk some minerals.
We got stones.
We got the Mind Stone. The Mind Stone allows users to enhance their mental and psychic abilities and access the thoughts and dreams of other beings. At full potential, when backed by the Power Gem, the Mind Gem can access all minds in existence simultaneously. The Mind Gem is also the manifestation of the universal subconscious. So, realizing I skipped one, but in my list that I was going to run down, but we're going to go ahead and run with the Mind Stone, and it's something that doesn't exist yet in Disney parks, but it's announced. I picked Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So, my thought behind this one would be, obviously, for the time being, it's one of the rarest things in existence. People are going to come from all over the world to see Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And the thing that you'll hear Imagineers talk about with Galaxy's Edge is total control over the minds and actions of the guests in this park. And not being ominous, they really want to control the experience to the point where if you wreck the Millennium Falcon on the Millennium Falcon experience, you're going to be living with that consequence the rest of the time that you're walking through that park. Disney's got total control over your mind. Connor, what do you think?
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even think about that, about like Disney having control themselves. Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, they've got full control over the guests in their park.
I do like that Mind Stone. At first, I was just like, with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, I was like, yeah, I guess so. I mean, there's a lot of control, but that twist to it, the taking control of his guests' minds, of putting their actions in the forefront and saying, your actions have consequences.
Yeah, what other ride? I was trying to think, what other ride in the world at any of the Disney parks has that level of control over someone. I don't think we've seen it yet. I think it's got to be that for now, at least, unless yours is another good example of that.
I think I went more with, where can you go to access, all the greatest minds of the universe? And then also, where can you go to maybe shape your own mind, preferably for the better or something like that? And,
All right.
and mine was actually Epcot, all of Epcot.
Oh, okay.
Right? So if you think about how Epcot was built with all of these distinct pavilions in Future World, they actually had these advisory boards for each of them. And they would bring in professors and scientists and, nonprofit leads and stuff like that that were very specific in whatever it was. So in the land, they had agricultural specialists. In the seas, they had ocean specialists and stuff like that. So when you go to Epcot, what you're experiencing is things that are built by experts in these, big, bold fields. And then on top of that, you're going over to the country and you're broadening all the countries and you're broadening your minds with all these different cultures and things like that.
That's good. I like that.
And I think Walt's original idea for Epcot was the experimental prototype community of tomorrow. Everyone coming together so that they could be, foster progress and change and newness, stuff like that. So that's why the Mind Stone for me goes to Epcot.
I like that. See, we went two totally different directions, but they do make sense.
Yes.
At least to the two of us. And if you don't agree with us, leave a comment.
Yeah, we would.
Actually, no, but I really do want to see lists on this. It would be my dream to see lots of people type out their lists of what are all the not Mind Stones, what are all the Infinity Stones. So, next one, Space Stone. Allows users to exist in any location, move any object anywhere throughout reality, warp or rearrange space, teleport themselves and others, increase their speed, and alter the distance between objects contrary to the laws of physics. At full potential, the Space Gem grants the user omnipresence. Well, Connor, this one kind of starts and ends with the color of the Space Stone in the movies for me, because I cannot look at that blue tesseract throughout the first several films. Probably the most prevalent stone in any of the movies is the Space Stone in the form of the tesseract or the Space Stone. It's Tron Light Cycle Power Run for me. I mean, that thing is a blue glowing masterpiece that when that opened up in Shanghai, it's at Shanghai Disneyland, I was immediately like, I'm going to go to China just so I can ride that ride in China, because that was the biggest piece of envy I had when that park opened up, because it looks just like a masterpiece. Anyways, to tie that into the Space Stone, it's very fast. It's beautiful. Yep. It looks like it's, disobeying the laws of physics. You're in this very strange looking cart or motorbike looking roller coaster train that takes you through all these different speeds and tunnels and amazing light show. That's the Space Stone for me.
I like that. I like that one a lot. Especially because I'm just excited for it,
Oh yeah, and then we should add, it is being built now at Magic Kingdom and
coming to Tomorrowland.
So I see that as Thanos grabbing another stone and popping it into his Infinity Gauntlet down in Disney World, if you view Disney World as Thanos.
I didn't have one typed out for this or written down for this. I just wanted to see where you were going with it fully.
Okay.
And I thought, all right, if something pops into my head, I'm going to go with it. And something did pop into my head. And it's not actually at Disney World. It's one that just opened
Thank God.
at Disney's California Adventure. And this is the Incredicoaster.
Oh, okay.
Right? So allows the user to exist in any location. So what can Jack do? Jack, in now that we see in Incredibles 2.
He does do that thing.
He can exist in any location. Move any object anywhere throughout reality. It seems like Jack can do that as well.
Yep.
Increase their speed. Well, Dash can increase your speed. We saw that in the boat. Do you remember that in the first Incredibles?
Yeah.
When he put everyone in there. warp or rearrange space. I mean, this one's a little bit of a stretch, but it seems like Violet can do certain things. Definitely objects contrary to the laws of physics. That's for sure. Now, none of that actually occurs on the Incredicoaster, but
He's all over the place, though. They've got those mannequins that pop up. Those are pretty cool at nighttime
that's
when
true.
they light up. When you're going through the final part of the ride at the end there's like, what is it, like 10 different Jack things that light up, and it looks like he's teleporting around the ride.
that one looks awesome. Yeah.
It looks pretty cool. It looks great at night. It's a little goofy where you can see a whole bunch of them, but I guess he does multiply. It's cool. It's cool. So, another thing that we should add is who's in possession of these. So the Mind Stone, no one has the Mind Stone just yet when we started with Galaxy's Edge. It's floating out there unknown, kind of like the Soul Stone was at the beginning of Infinity War. No one knew where it was. So as far as the Space Stone's concerned, we said Shanghai Disneyland has it, and Magic Kingdom will be soon acquiring it. Moving on to number 3, the Reality Stone. I like this one. Allows the user to fulfill their wishes even if the wish is in direct contradiction with scientific laws, and do things that would normally be impossible. Create any type of alternate reality that the user wishes, and at full potential, the Reality Gem allows the user to alter reality on a universal scale. This one, the way that stone's definition was written or spoken, I kind of just immediately pictured Joe Rohde describing Pandora and the immersive experience and the transportation of reality and worlds for the user there in Animal Kingdom, and a real cornerstone of, I mean, all of Disney World right now is Flight of Passage. There's no ride that's more popular as far as wait time's concerned than Flight of Passage, and it's the only one in the world. Bends reality, puts you in a place that you never would have imagined, on the back of a dragon flying over the Pandoran forest. That's got to be the description I just read, and it's so rare. Who knows if another park will end up getting that at this point?
Yeah, I was a little boring with this one. I picked Flight of Passage as well. I mean,
that's good.
When you read the description of the Reality Stone,
It sounds
Hank
like
was saying,
Joe
it's like,
Rohde.
yeah, I mean, fulfilling your wishes, like, who hasn't ever wished to fly? I think every single human being would be like, God, boy, it'd be neat to fly, wouldn't it?
Yep.
And then,
that's what happens on that ride. Yeah. You get
alter
to fly.
reality, you become a avatar.
Yeah, that's
right?
a good point.
You
Yeah.
link with your avatar, you become one, so that
Yeah.
you can ride on the back of a Banshee. The Reality Stone has to go to Flight of Passage in Disney's Animal Kingdom. And like Hank was saying, there is a distinct possibility that Pandora could be coming to multiple other Disney theme parks
Yep.
in the future.
So it's rare for now, and that's the thing about this
right
list
now.
is that right now it is. These items are currently rare. It's a little tough that the real Infinity Stones never change, but you'll see in one of these next ones, actually the next one that we talk about, that the Infinity Stones on this list might morph a little bit in their shape, perhaps like the Tesseract. So the Power Stone.
Ooh.
Allows the user to access and manipulate all forms of energy, enhance their physical strength and durability, enhance any superhuman ability, and boost the effects of the other 5 gems. At full potential, the Power Gem grants the user omnipotence. So I had a tough time with this one, but then it kind of struck me, Connor, is that I could not have this list not feature something Marvel. And I was like, wait a second. If there's any stone that's tied to one movie more than any of the others, the Power Stone is critically important to the first Guardians of the Galaxy and plays a huge role. It's the purple stone. It's the one that they're kind of after the whole film and making sure that the bad guy doesn't get it. It's the one that they protect at the end. And you look at the Guardians of the Galaxy, one of the most popular rides in the world right now for Disney, a surprise, enhanced to superhuman ability of an old ride that didn't perform quite as well, was the Tower of Terror reskin to Guardians of the Galaxy Breakout out in Disney's California Adventure. So you're seeing where my mind goes towards that one. The ultra rare gem out there rests in California Adventure. Connor, what do you got?
when I read this, I was having a little bit of difficulty as well. Like, it allows users to access and manipulate all forms of energy, superhuman abilities.
Yeah.
Boost the effects of the other 5 ones. Like, very interesting abilities that aren't perfectly defined. But then I read, at full potential, the Power Gem grants the user omnipotence. So when I thought of that, I said, this sounds like a certain mouse in a certain show. And I'm talking about Sorcerer Mickey in Phantasmic.
Oh, interesting.
So when you think of that show, both in Disneyland and in Disney's Hollywood Studios, Sorcerer Mickey, does a whole bunch of stuff. He basically saves the day, beats Maleficent, beats the dragon, and here's this little mouse doing it. And how is he able to do it? He's able to do it because he's a sorcerer, and he has all these superpowers. And it seems like that show is very much like that, right? It can manipulate all forms of energy. There's fire.
That's pretty good. I like that a lot.
There's fireworks. There's lighting. There's water screens with projections on it. For me, it was Phantasmic. Very powerful show.
So, right now, in my example for Guardians of the Galaxy, that's currently only at California Adventure. However,
Don't say it. Don't say it.
I mean, it's a home run. That's going to be the new Power Stone, the new ride at the Universe of Energy's old site. I mean,
I thought you were going to say that it was going to take over Walt Disney World's Tower of Terror. I don't want that.
No.
I don't care how good it is. It's not that good.
Guardians of the Galaxy's new roller coaster in Epcot, built on the former site of the Universe of Energy, which will certainly have call-outs to the old ride. We'll be damned if that doesn't actually happen. That's going to be the future Power Stone. So I kind of see that as the next one that Thanos is seeking out and loading up the gauntlet, getting
that
closer.
Makes sense too. Power, energy, sponsored by Exxon back in the day.
Yep, it's getting there, and it's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's the Purple Stone. It's the perfect fit. Time Stone.
Yes.
Time Stone. I struggled with this one, but I got to a place where I was happy with it. Allows the user to see into the past and future, stop, slow down, speed up, or reverse the flow of time. Travel through time, change the past, change the future, yada, yada, yada. This one's long. The Time Gem also grants the user omniscience and total control over the past, present, and future. So I looked to be, first of all, I had to be transported to a different place or different time. Trim that down in some of the places where it could be. Needed a ride that was going to feature a lot of stopping and going backwards and forwards, traveling through these different periods. And then it also, like all of these Infinity Stones, it had to be something rare. It had to be something that was a true gem in the universe that you had to go there to be a part of. Couldn't just be, It's a Small World or Haunted Mansion, which you could find anywhere. It had to be something special. Radiator Springs Racers in California Adventure is that special ride that describes a lot of the stuff. Transports you to a different time, a lot of stopping and going, forward, backwards, different scenes. Very rare, very special ride. So that's kind of how I landed on that one. Connor?
You really disappointed me with this one.
Oh, boy.
I mean, you disappointed me so much.
Oh, no.
Because if you don't read, wait a second, you do read.
Oh, yeah, I do?
If you read this sentence, allows the user to see into the past and future, stop, slow down, speed up, or reverse the flow of time, travel through time, change the past and future. If you read that and the first thing you didn't think was Dr. Grant Seeker and his time rover in Dinosaur in Dinoland, USA at Animal Kingdom, you, sir, are no longer my friend. I am ashamed of you.
Oh, no, it's perfect. That is perfect.
Travels through time, goes back and forth. We're in the present. We go back 65 million years. forward to the future. We change time because we bring the freaking iguanodon. That has to do some butterfly effect, right?
We may have to change that. Here's the thing, though, and you can help me on this, Connor. Our viewers can help. We'd love it if people weighed in. Dinosaur is a fantastic ride. Connor and I love it. It's very near and dear to us, but we're also okay with pointing out that it has some flaws and that it went through...
Well, I'm not okay with that. You might be.
We're okay with... I'm okay, then. I'm okay. Connor's not. With pointing out that that ride had some serious budget cuts and has gone through some metamorphoses over the years and is not quite as powerful as its Californian brother or twin that is Indiana Jones. So, what do we think? Does it need to be an untouchable ride? Should it just fit the description? Interested to hear the thoughts of others. Connor, what do you think?
So, turn for turn, Dinosaur is the exact same layout as Indiana Jones in Disneyland. Turn for turn, it's exactly the same. It's the same layout and everything. The ride vehicles are the same. So now lately people, the rumors picked up, okay, Dinosaur is going to become Indiana Jones. I mean, I like Dinosaur a lot. I would hate for it to change. If Indiana Jones came, it'd be cool. I don't know how it would fit
It would not
necessarily
fit
into it. I've heard other rumors about other worlds, other lands coming to Animal Kingdom.
Yep.
I mean, I think, it's still,
that's very down on the list for them now, wouldn't you think?
If it changes from Dinosaur to Indiana Jones, then all of Dinoland USA would have to change.
Correct.
Because there's no reason to just have an Indiana Jones randomly in the middle of Animal Kingdom.
Good news is it's a blank canvas that you can pretty much just paint right over.
No, please don't do that. Tear it to the ground.
Yeah. You mean you don't like being spun into the side of your car and whipped around?
I just feel like it's already a hot park, and then all of a sudden I'm in a parking lot, and the asphalt is 10,000 degrees.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like.
Well, let's go to the last stone. I'm proud of this one, even though I really missed the mark on the last one.
Yeah, big time.
I'll get over it.
No,
Soul Stone allows the user to steal, control, manipulate, and alter the living and dead souls. Should I just stop there? It's got to be a Haunted Mansion ride.
Yeah, it has to be.
However, that's not very rare now, is it, Connor? So, my thought is the Soul Stone has to be some type of variation of this, and perhaps one of the best rides in all of Disney parks is a Haunted Mansion variation, and that's Mystic Manor in Hong Kong Disneyland. For those of you that haven't seen this or heard of it, it is a trackless ride, and it is absolutely stunning. You're in very similar ride vehicles to your normal dark ride that you'd expect at Disney, or a slow-moving dark ride. However, you're not bound by the tracks and stories that something can be told in this very linear format. And when you blow up a storyboard and you can spin and go in any direction and have any light show going on, you're in for a treat.
Oh, yeah. I like that. I like that one a lot. But this is when I read it, I thought of a Haunted Mansion, and I just thought of our Haunted Mansion.
Oh.
The reason I did that, ours, I mean Walt Disney World's, the reason I did that was because is also in the description, the Soul Gem, or the Soul Stone, is also the gateway to an idyllic pocket universe.
Okay.
I think when people talk about the perfect ride created by Disney, Haunted Mansion is almost always the one that comes up.
Interesting.
I think it is perfectly idyllic. Yeah. It's its own pocket universe. The backstories to our one Haunted Mansion is incredible. Gracie Manor, who is Gracie, who is Master Gracie, all of these things, Yep. I think the fan community behind it, all of those little details within the ride and stuff like that, I think it's perfectly idyllic. But then I'll also throw in this caveat, which is just a personal story that I know. When it first starts out by saying allows the user to steal, control, manipulate, and alter living and dead souls, the reason I didn't pick Mystic Manor is because that ride was built so that it wouldn't talk about seances and souls and spirits and ghosts. Because in China, that is something that you don't talk about, at all. Like spirits, haunted things, that's a big faux pas. And it's not even that it's a faux pas, it's that people are truly terrified about it. Like, it's not something you mess around with. So much so that we had people who worked on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train who were from China.
Oh, boy.
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train was an opening day attraction in Shanghai Disneyland. So they brought all of these cast members over before the park opened and trained them in the Florida parks. So there were all these Chinese cast members working on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and they would not go on Haunted Mansion because of how terrified they were of it. Like, my friend had to drag one of them on to the ride so that they would ride it.
Wow.
That's just a funny story. I mean, but it's also one of those stories where, because of that, the Imagineers were able to create one of the best attractions out there in Mystic Manor, which Hank and I have never experienced in person, but from the videos and photos and reviews we've read, it looks absolutely incredible.
It's gorgeous too. It's a really cool spot where the building rests on a hill. It feels it's definitely a pocket universe of its own up there.
That's a good point.
But I guess now I was trying to think. I was like, I feel like that ride was still for if you have that much of a fear of spirits. I feel like that ride still would be a little unsettling, considering that everything comes to life. It's not like
borderline.
Yeah, it's pushing the envelope. It's not dead things.
No.
Whereas like Haunted Mansion is like dead people, but this is like inanimate objects coming to life that look a lot like ghosts.
Oh yeah.
So that was where I went with that one.
Ghosts.
That's the last one. That was it's only in Hong Kong Disneyland, and no one in the future has any reason to build a Mystic Manor. We'll see about that, but I kind of said in my post-mortem, no pun intended, that it doesn't seem like anyone will get a reskin of like a Haunted Mansion that would require trackless vehicles, or at least anytime in the very near future. That's many, many, many years off, when for some reason people can't handle the moving sidewalk that's on Haunted Mansion for some reason. So to tie this whole thing together, who is the greatest threat to destroy the Disneyverse? If we go back through my list, we had Mystic Manor, Radiator Springs Racers, Guardians of the Galaxy Breakout, Flight of Passage, Galaxy's Edge, and Tron Light Cycle Power Run. Thank goodness no one park or sets of park like Disneyland or the Disneyland Resort or the Disney World Resort possesses all of those. However, Disney World is moving kind of close. So they're getting a Tron Light Cycle Power Run. That will count as 1. They're getting a Galaxy's Edge. We're up to 2. They have a Flight of Passage, the one stone that they have right now. They're about to get a Guardians of the Galaxy. That's 4. Radiator Springs Racers and Mystic Manor are the 2 remaining. So in my scenario, does not seem likely that they'll fill out that gauntlet, Connor, because I don't see them picking up a ride that resembles a Mystic Manor or a reskin to the Haunted Mansion in the way that I created this list. And Radiator Springs Racers seems like it's going to be a unique Disneyland attraction, at least for the near future. What do you think?
Oh yeah.
They're building a Cars attraction or a show in Disney's Hollywood Studios right now, but that's not going to be the ride.
Far from it. Yeah, that's a weird attraction that they're going to do. It's going to be like a mini show almost.
Yeah.
Kind of like Little Mermaid.
As good as
you line up and it's continuous shows.
Not going to be as good as the ride out in California. So I don't see that moving around the globe.
It
the
may
other
not be here yet, but I can guarantee it will never possess one of these stones.
Yeah. I do think, though, that Disneyland is kind of close in this scenario. They've got Guardians of the Galaxy. They've got Radiator Springs Racers. They've got those two. They could get some type of Mystic Manor, probably not. They are getting a Galaxy's Edge. They could get a Tron Light Cycle Power Run. I don't think that that's likely. The thing that would really be the jump of conscious, this is kind of our starter rumor. I was thinking Flight of Passage would float quite nicely right into the soaring over the world that everyone hates now in California.
Yeah. My God.
You want to talk about people that are upset about ride reskin right after the success, or right before the success that was Guardians of the Galaxy. Disney really, really pissed off some fans out west when they got rid of Soarin' over California for the highly animated and CGI effect of Soarin' Around the World.
Why is the Eiffel Tower crooked? It looks like it's bent.
You're not sitting right in the middle.
Yeah, but a funny thing about Soarin' out there is that it was like always a walk-on attraction, even.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh yeah, I guess it's kind of. I mean, the whole premise of the theme park, California, so that they won't go around California and just stay in Disneyland.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little weird, but
yeah, that's an interesting thing since we floated towards that topic, and I don't know when we'd mention it again. Is Soarin' out in Disneyland? It feels even back. So I went on it when it was still Soarin' over California, but it was a walk-on attraction, and it felt just like the queue was underwhelming. It's the same thing, but just the staging and the loading and the separation, it felt much more theatrical in Disney World, the way that you're going down dark tunnels and you're queuing in the back. You've got the lights dim for the show, and where in California, you're just kind of in an airplane hangar, and all of a sudden you're going to just get on this thing and boom, you're done. It's like right there. The exit's like right on the sidewalk and you're out. The Soarin', yeah.
Disneyland fans, I think, are a little weird in like what they like really love and what they like hate, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think they still love Soarin', but it's not like certain things. It's always interesting for me, and this is one of the things where it plays into this discussion. It's, you know, who goes to Disney World versus who goes to Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's, I think, has to do in part to who's the biggest threat in the Disneyverse.
Oh. Day trippers.
Oh God, Hank, this is an awesome conversation.
I enjoyed it, Connor. Thank you for giving me the air to bellow into the microphone tonight.
Yep, I will let you air your grievances whenever, especially on Festivus.
Oh, we're gonna have a Festivus episode.
We're gonna have to
what we talk about.
We need a poll, and we need to find a way how to do feats of strength via the internet.
Okay.
We'll figure that out. If you want to read all of Hank's opinions on this awesome topic, what are the 6 affinity stones of Disney parks, go over to www.wdwopinion.com. The blog will be posted there. Comment on it.
A lot of W's.
Yeah, too many W's. I don't know why I just dove into www. Everyone knows that's what it is.
Never make that mistake again.
I will never. I promise. I can't promise. Hopefully, I never do that again.
What a jerk. Go
over to the blog, read that. Comment on Facebook what you think the 6 Infinity Stones of the Disney parks are, and you can also email us, Connor, CONOR, @wdwopinion.com. Let us know your thoughts on it. Thanks for talking to me, Hank, as always.
Thanks, Connor. We'll talk to everyone next week, and hope you have a good one, my friend.
I am cutting that big time. That was creepy. Whatever. That's going to do it for us this week. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you want more WDW Opinion in between shows, be sure to head over to wdwopinion.com for all the latest blog posts on Disney World and Universal. Sign up for our email newsletter to get all the latest from us delivered right to your inbox. Be sure to follow us on social media. We are at WDW Opinion on Instagram and Twitter, and you can like our Facebook page at facebook.com/WDW Opinion. Be sure to leave a review on iTunes or your podcast app of choice, and subscribe to us while you're at it. It'll help grow the WDW Opinion community. Thanks so very much for listening this week. For Hank, I'm Connor. We'll see you real soon.